You're listening to the Big Cast, your source for the latest in financial technology. Brought to you weekly by the Best Innovation Group, with your hosts, John Best and Glen Servati.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition, the special GAC edition of the Big Cast. My name is John Best, and I am the CEO of Best Innovation Group, and I am joined by my partner in no crime, Glen Servati.
Thank you for clarifying that. Glen Servati, 154 Advisors. Damn glad to meet you.
Damn glad to be here. Isn't that what the guy says in Groundhog Day and then gets hit?
I was going for Animal House, but they may be in Groundhog Day.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I was thinking the one dude. Anyways, I'm excited. When are you getting in?
I'm arriving early Sunday morning. I plan to be there. I know that, this will be past tense by the time this airs, but I know our friends at CU 2.0 are doing their usual happy hour where they have an opportunity for folks to see some of their newer fintech companies offering services into the space on Sunday afternoon. So I want to make sure I'm there in time for that. But then we got the usual kind of kickoff, the soft opening, I'd say, with the Ed Talk, the Ed Filene Talk on Sunday afternoon over at the Washington Conference Center. And then the fun really starts on Monday. And you and I have already been talking. They've got a great lineup of particularly the breakout sessions. I think they've really got a good topical set up this year, America's Credit Unions does, to really dig into, no shortage of hot topics we need to be talking about.
No doubt. There is so much. And I can't imagine that this meeting's not going to create more,
I'm very well, you've got the actual hiking of the hill that takes place after the plenary sessions, the big room, the room full of a couple thousand people adjourns. But threading the needle is going to be interesting because, there's some really interesting politics going on in a lot of different directions. And I'm very curious to see how some of these kind of sensitive topics are addressed. And I'm sure we'll be back. And we did a great session on the town hall the other day where we kind of crowdsourced what people are thinking about.
I was curious what people are thinking about. Everybody's a little more focused on, a lot of other things, not necessarily all this DDA sort of, or DEI and whatnot. There's a lot more going on. So, yeah.
And I get I really enjoy, if people don't follow Chip Filson, who used to be one of the leaders of Callahan, puts out.
Oh, I know Chip. Yep, Chip and
he's got a great blog called Just a Member, given that he now is just a member since he's no longer in any position of leadership or management at a credit union or a service organization. And he is really, I think, taken full advantage in a very, very positive and constructive way of permission to speak freely. And he's talked a lot about really kind of digging into the nuances of, NCUA board meetings, public readouts, the insurance fund. If you don't follow him, I strongly suggest you do. And we can post a link to that because he posts frequently. I don't know if he's got a regular schedule, but it's at least a couple times a week. And it's always stuff that I really enjoy, getting his perspectives. And I'm sure he'll be there as well. Looking forward to hearing him.
Cool. Well, speaking of posting, that could be kind of cool because we've got, some other things going on with, posting kind of stuff. I think that's what we're here to discuss.
Yeah, you've been teasing this for a while. And, I'm actually enjoying the opportunity to kind of be the one asking the questions today because I really don't know. You've been working on a project involving Bluesky. And we can talk a little bit. It's, an alternative to X. Or was it Threads or the other different social?
Yeah, there's Threads, there's X, and then there's one other competitor, Mastodon. That was it.
Mastodon, which is also a heavy metal band from Atlanta. That's why I kind of forgot about it.
Of course it is. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
How could there not be a heavy metal band called Mastodon?
Exactly.
But Bluesky, in part because it was started by Jack Dorsey after he sold Twitter, the interface looks remarkably like X, let's be honest.
I mean, yeah.
There's only so many ways you can go with this thing, but it became, I think, the most viable alternative, in my view, to Twitter and X, whatever you want to call it. Quite honestly, I found it to still be somewhat lacking in terms of traffic, particularly from some of the topical areas that I like to get involved in. On the other hand, I don't think I'm alone in thinking I kind of need a bath occasionally, a shower after I actually wade into X. So it'd be wonderful to have another alternative. I know that's what you've been looking at. So
Well, not only do I
what you
want an
got?
alternative to that, but I want, I think this is finally the opportunity to have sort of a moderated alternative where we can have discussions that I think are, they can be done. Because not only can, if you create a Blue Sky account, that's one thing. But then the other side of it is that you get this opportunity, to create a server, which is what I'm working on. So
Well, that's and
Blue Sky,
to be clear on that, I think that was one of the things you mentioned that I don't fully understand. One of the beauties of Blue Sky is that it's open source. Is that right?
yes, yeah,
And
that was the whole
and
point.
that's not true of and that's not true of X, which is more of a walled garden, correct?
Right. Well, I mean, it has an API, but you've got to jump through some hoops to get to it, and you're never going to touch the actual source code. So, but yeah, that's exactly right, and that's the whole point of it. The idea of Blue Sky was it's the brainchild of Jack, the guy that left or sold his Twitter to Elon. Uh, First of all, it's so decentralized, which it gives you more control over the data. So that means that it's got like a blockchain sort of attribute to it. Not the same, but kind of the idea is that there are plenty of these guys, and it's all run by an open source protocol called the AT protocol. And that AT protocol allows any organizations, including credit unions, to host their own servers. And I've always said that there could be opportunity here for credit unions to host their own Blue Sky server just to push out information related to that. To be fair, I hate to say this, but Patelco could have benefited from something like this had it had enough people, logged into it. Because they don't control the comments and what people say on Twitter, nor do they control, not that they should control it, but I have great faith in the Cranian system to self-edit and to do what's needed. Um, but the idea is that, you could have a forum where Patelco would have been the group in charge of that, where they could be the voice of truth within that realm.
Now,
And
I
it's
just
hard
and
to do.
for people who are not familiar, we're talking about a pretty significant outage or data breach. It was an outage, right? At Telco that
Yeah.
prevented people from getting into their online banking, and there was just tons of noise out there, and competing voices trying to explain what was going on. And I think you make a good point. You assuming you trust your financial institution to be telling you the lowdown, I mean, that would be the best place to get it. Obviously, you may want to have some outside fact checker, but that would be probably, if you had to look for a single source of truth, that would probably be the best one.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. So the idea is that you have this open thing. So why should they care? Well, like we said, it's control over data and privacy. Um, it can create better member engagement. You can actually write your own little programs. You could have a Blue Sky server that has a specialized use case of, I don't know, charity. Hey, everybody jump in. We just added this charity module that uses Zelle or something that allows everybody to, contribute to this hurricane disaster or
So
this
again, using the Patelco example, the wildfires. I mean, it's right in their backyard. So
right. The other thing is you're not dependent on Facebook or Twitter or any of these big social media, Instagram or any of these social media platforms.
It's totally portable, right? You could actually,
because the algorithms in those are deciding what you see, which is why you feel like you need to take a bath because, you clearly have a history of looking at really gross stuff. And now the algorithms decided, I'm just kidding, but that's, the algorithms decided that's what you want to see.
Well, frankly, that's part of my problem. Why Elon Musk's tweets are always at the top of my feed, given that
I get notified on those.
I have notifications turned off, so I'm at least that far.
I had to turn off all notifications to get his to go.
I got at the top of my feed. I've still, this one still boggles my mind. I got a tweet from Elon Musk's mom. I know she's got a lot of followers. I had no idea who she was. That is suddenly identified as something I want to see. I don't get it.
Yeah. So those are things that won't happen unless because remember, Bluesky in and of itself you can use. So you don't have to be on a server. A server is just one aspect of it. So you can be in it, you can use it, you can send information back and forth, you can follow who you want to follow, you can set up your own views and do what you want to do.
And again, it's remarkably similar. I mean, if you know how X worked and you were comfortable with the X interface, you were going to feel at home very quickly.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's very much the same. It has the discover, it has the for you, where they now, well, they use discover now, but like, mine, I got Mark Cuban is on there. There's a lot of people on there, Politico, there's, and what I find is that this is a lot more like the old school of Twitter that I remember. There is information in here that, can be a little, I guess, pushy, but at the same time, it feels much more like, for example, there's a lot out here today from different people about the Jeff Bezos announcement with regard to the Washington Post. And, it's far more open. There isn't anybody that's trying to sort of skew it one way or the other. And so that's kind of I think the value of this.
Well, there's two aspects I'm hearing here. One is you've got, and I've already seen some people referring to it as the left-leaning version of X. And I think that's a bit of an overstatement. I mean, if you are turned off by some of the things,
it's not the left. Yeah, I disagree with that.
I'm with you too. But I mean,
it's just the escapees from X that still want to have fun, but at the same time want to keep up with information and have engaging conversation that doesn't necessarily lead to crazy trolling. And
so that's one major aspect. But then the other piece that you're talking about is the technical aspect, because again, you've got more capability to build something that's fit for purpose. And
you could host discussions. You could create a Bluesky server that has exclusive financial literacy content. If you wanted to, and you could host discussions on there about budgeting or fraud prevention or credit building. You could have live Q&As. You can have live AMAs. It's got like a little bit of a Reddit kind of component to it. Real-time updates. So it's
cutting to the chase. I mean, maybe not the specifics around financial literacy. That is what you have done, is you have built a Bluesky server that you intend to basically use to moderate credit union activity.
Yeah, it's just for the credit union colleagues and peeps. Everybody can talk here, and the rules will be the same as whatever they are, and we'll see where it goes. There might be value. As you know, our town hall was a reaction to the pandemic, right? In this case, this would be another avenue if we had things like that to get information out, to sort of have a more digital town hall where people are more comfortable speaking, and we can do a lot of things in there. We can, and I kind of have two purposes. One, I've been wanting something like this for a while, where there's a place where people can go if they want or not want to, and it's not some Facebook group, and it's not X. It's somewhere that's been built for and by credit union peeps. And then the follow-up to that is, I want to try some things. I want to show people what I think this thing can do, so that maybe they might be interested, and it might help it to get going. It could be a very good thing for the grading space, and so I want to give it a shot.
I'm in. I mean, that it sounds good. Now let me make sure I understand the criteria. But first off, you talked about if a credit union decides to set up a Bluesky server, they can use it to interact with their customer base. That's not what their member base, I should say. That's not what you're talking about here. This is more a communication vehicle for people who are in the credit union, employee base, leadership base, having conversations about credit unions, not individual specifics of a credit union, right?
Correct. Okay. But I also wanted to use it to showcase how a community server could be built, and I also want to experiment with it myself with things like AI and whatnot, to see what can be done. And my hope is that people go, oh, because I find that that's like where really cool ideas come from. People ask me a lot about, like, how do you be innovative? And one of the things I always do is, and this, is I look outside the industry. I sort of look at everything I see through the lens of, well, what would that look like in the credit union delivery model? Either retail or digital or whatever. And I know most of the people who listen to this podcast do those sorts of things. And so my hope is that we do some fun stuff. It grows into a place where people can have good conversation, and that, experiment with it a bit and provide value to the people that are on it, and that they see, hey, maybe we want to set up one of these. And it's not impossible. It's not super hard. I know there are companies out there that do it. I'm not suggesting that, although big, we'd be happy to help you, but this isn't to make money. It's to learn, like I always do.
I was going to say, what I'm hearing here is, this sounds a little, for lack of a better, kind of a shameless self-promotion here, but the Innovation Club, where you bring ideas to the table, and if people like them, they can say, hey, and you kind of say, have at it. If you want to do this at your credit union, go for it. I've kind of built the wireframe. I can now help you build it out, or you can just take it yourself. Except in this case,
or hire a company if you see this value.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're, yeah.
And this is even more open source, because in this case, we're not even like limiting it to a group, because the group that actually convenes as part of the Innovation Club, this is come one, come all, right? This is free to everyone.
Yeah.
So if people want to get involved, I guess step one is just a standard Bluesky, sign up for your account, correct? And that's free.
Yeah, start off with signing up to your account, and then
we'll post the link. But it's pretty damn easy. That's going to take you all of 15 seconds probably.
Yeah, and then what we're going to do is we're going to post that, and then you and I just follow us on Twitter, and we'll post the instructions.
Follow us on Twitter or follow us on Bluesky?
Follow us on X and on Bluesky.
Well, what if you've left X?
Then follow us on Bluesky.
Okay. So
what if you've left Bluesky? Then follow us on Mastodon. If you've left Mastodon, then follow us on Nostr. No, I'm just kidding. We're not.
But if once someone follows, and again, us being JB FinTech is your ID, right? Your handle for your own personal account. Big FinTech is out there as well on Bluesky. I'm out there at 154 Advisors. And if you follow us, then what happens from there in terms of getting on your server?
Well, there's going to be a little bit of a sign up kind of a process, because one of the things is we don't want just everybody out there, just like we do at the town hall. You
don't want to get Zoom bombed. You don't want to get, Bluesky.
Yeah, we don't want bad actors in there. We want it to be a community that is valuable, and that the common bond is that you have or will or have something to do with working at a credit union.
Ooh, that's very meta. A common bond among common bond credit unions. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's common. It's the Bluesky seg.
I like. Maybe we start a credit union with Bluesky members. That could be.
Yeah, good. We could we can do anything, Glenn. Anything you want to do. We did bingo. You asked to do bingo cards, and that's what we did. We do anything you say, Glenn.
So again, the bottom line is, if you follow us on Bluesky, and maybe obviously we'll post some stuff, and maybe just if you respond to those posts, that will be the trigger mechanism to say, hey, and then from there, John, you can take it in terms of getting people connected to your server.
Yep. We're going to have, we're going to push it out in our email. We'll push it out on the system. We'll probably have a page on the website, and we'll definitely be pushing it out at Bluesky, and you and I will be walking around with QR codes on our phone.
I'm going to wear a sandwich board. We're talking GAC, right? We'll just
I can get you a sandwich board.
We'll just stand outside and have people.
Oh yeah, we can do that. You can even sleep in a tent in the hallway that's been decorated in the QR code.
I was going to say, I'll put the QR code directly on the tent. That's we get Mike Lawson to hang on his banner too.
Oh, we'll certainly talk about this with Mike when we do our interview. So.
This is getting me very energized. I like this. And is the server literally live now, or you have to actually turn it on, or where do we stand?
It's right in the middle of being sort of, I have to provision it, and then I have to get it into the main net of the protocol, which is what I'm working on now.
So, when people hear this, it will be, the second or third, depending on how you count, day of GAC will be the first time people will be hearing this if they listen right when it drops, this podcast.
Yep.
Which would be Tuesday, I think that's the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
if they are listening to our voices at this very moment, they could actually go ahead and connect. You'll have it live by then or soon after.
Yeah, they'll be able to go to bluesky.bigfintech. I'm excited. I know we'll have some of our compadres on there and folks that are interested. And I don't know, I just think it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time since we had a community area to talk. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, let's make sure that, again, whether you're hearing this or whether you found us at GAC, we'll get this thing up and rolling. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of a soft launch, as it always is, but we'll try to get the conversation moderated and active as quickly as possible so that people have both a reason to be involved in this specific server as well as, the Bluesky community overall. And maybe we can also provide some suggestions of other folks who are already on Bluesky in the credit union space that makes sense to follow.
Yeah.
So once people do that, is it a matter of toggling back and forth? Is the fact that they are on the server that is connected to this, I don't know, is it an instance of Bluesky? Will it be totally invisible to them relative to their everyday Bluesky experience? How do the two kind of play?
We can do it either way. We can feed it in if they want to integrate them or leave them in, or they can leave it separate and check it when they want to.
Meaning it would actually be two separate icons on their phone, or
It'll be a shard of the current Bluesky where you can go into sort of a community in there and see it.
So it would show up someplace on the screen, kind of like another option, like For You or Discover or Following or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, I guess I need to, see it myself, and maybe at some point in the future we'll actually do a video demo so people can see what we're talking about. But
oh, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, this is going to be just the beginning of it. But
yeah, we're. I mean, I think we're beyond minimum viable product, but we are definitely V1.0. So there's plenty of room for improvement and input, and the more the merrier. I think just like anything of a social media app. I mean, the more voices that you get, but obviously within reason of people who are actually kind of pulling in the same general direction, the more value we're going to get to it. So
they're not quite to the federation standpoint, but they've been doing this for some time. They released the AT protocol and allowed the users to set up their own servers, and basically 1 year ago today. Otherwise, I would have tried to do this last year. So
AT protocol, again, probably more technical than we need to be, but I'm curious, is that literally Bluesky's protocol, or did they adopt the protocol that already existed for other purposes?
The AT protocol was created by Twitter, but Jack negotiated on his way out that this comes with me. He actually put this one lady in charge of it.
I remember. Yeah.
And she took it out and really ran with it. But it's the backbone of it. It's called Authenticated Transfer Protocol.
Aha, that's what the AT stands for.
And so there are PDS servers, which are the personal data servers. There is account portability, which we just talked about, which means that you can move between servers without losing your friends or your social graph.
So I could
build my own algorithm if I wanted to. And
I like that. That is appealing. That is really appealing. I mean,
that's the part I'm probably going to start with. But yeah.
This is like I came in here excited about doing something on Bluesky, but not knowing what it was. I'm now, wow, okay, now that I understand where you're going with this, I'm even more excited. So this is
we're gonna have the Glen algorithm. Nothing but Fed news all the time.
Better than Elon's mom. Let's just put it that way.
Elon's mom's got some nice things to say.
I believe she's a supermodel. She says that right in her profile.
Aren't we all? Really? At our core, isn't everyone a supermodel in their own heart, Glenn?
We should be. And if you're not, then maybe you need therapy.
All right.
Well, this is short and sweet. I think this is, like I say, I'm very excited about this. We'll post several links that you can follow up on, and you'll be hearing more. But feel free, please, to reach out for more information, as we said, on Bluesky. But exact same handles. John, you're still on X as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I have not been as active, but I am there as well. And again, so it's at JB FinTech. At 154 Advisors, at Big FinTech, we'll get there as well for the overall Best Innovation Group. And you can always find us, at the Best Innovation Group website, big-fintech.com. please do. If you have more questions, whether either you're having a hard time connecting to this or whether you just want to understand more about what's going on, we'll
I'm super excited about it. It's going to be super fun.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Washington again. By the time people are
I hear we got an appointment at Nando's Peri Peri.
I was going to say we will have already had our dinner at Nando's by the time people hear this. But
for those of you that don't know, it's a wonderful, incredible restaurant that Glen turned me on to. That is South African food.
I believe it's South African Peri Peri Spice. It's a chain that's come to a couple cities, but it seems to be the biggest in Washington. Pretty simple, quick service, order at the counter, but nice sit down once you get your food. Reasonable price.
Delicious. That's what I remember about it.
And we're not being paid by that. They should at least comp our meal at this point.
Yeah. We'll send them a copy of the podcast.
And right down the street
chicken strip.
Right down the street from the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, which is where we'll be spending most of our Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Yes, we will.
And we'll come back. We'll come back with what we learned out there and some interviews. I've already got a couple things set up that we'll be sharing with you over the course of the next week or two. So
awesome.
Anything else, John? I think and anybody who's heading to DC, please again drop us a note by any of those channels, and we'd love to track you down.
Awesome. All right, Glen, take care. Thanks, everyone.
As always, thanks for listening.
Check back each week for the latest from the big cast. Or better yet, we hope you'll consider subscribing for free via Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Tweet us at Big FinTech, email info@big-fintech.com, or visit us at big-fintech.com and click on the Media tab, where you can post a comment or check out our archive of hundreds of past episodes. See you next week.